Next video in our Sun Dragon Tips and Tricks Ranunculus series. Here we go. This, I believe, if I'm keeping count, is video 4. And it is if you want to supplement the 2 cast-ons that she has in the Ranunculus, Midori Hirose has in the Ranunculus sweater pattern, with one that's a little simpler, but a little bit challenging in terms of getting some stretch into it. And it's a long tail cast-on holding 2 needles together. It's even a little awkward for me, but it's Liz's go-to. And it's a regular long tail, but you get a little more space in it. So it can be potentially a little easier to do. And if you want a collar that's maybe a little tighter, it's hard to say if it's tighter than the crochet chain cast on or if they both end up being equally stretchy. A lot of that can be changed by the fiber and the thickness and so many things of what you're using. The beauty of the Ranunculus, that you can use so many different yarns for it, is also the reason that it's kind of unpredictable to tell you what to use and how to cast on. But if you'd like to try just a modification of a long tail cast on, watch the next few minutes of video and try it out. Let's get to it. Let's talk about casting on with 2 needles. One of the easiest ways to do this, I recommend having a 16-inch US 10 and a 32-inch US 10 to make the Ranunculus. Now, if you wanted to have just a little more room, do a long tail cast on, but have a little more room in it. And again, long tail is not what the pattern calls for, but may still work if you don't want to try one of her other cast-ons. I recommend, what people often do is they will hold 2 ends of the same needle together to do the cast on. But doing that with your 16 inches, which is what you want to end up on to start this, may be a little tight, because see, if we do this, there's not much space there for your stitches. So if you've bought these 2 needles or have these 2 needles for your pattern, I recommend holding them together like this for your cast on. And remember, for long tail, I'm going to switch to my left hand so I can measure roughly how much I'm going to need. If I hold these guys together, if I wrap this around 10 times, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Doesn't matter if it's overlapping. What is between my 2 fingers right now is about how much I'm going to need for 10 stitches. So I can go 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, however you want to do your math on that. And I'm going to go in a little bit further. You can make a slip knot here, or some people know how to start this without a slip knot. But again, I'm going to take both of these needles, put them side by side together, and put them on cinch up the yarn on my needle. Now everything else is just like regular long tail. Just try to keep these needles together. So I put my fingers, let me move this out of the way. Put my first finger and my thumb in the same direction and pull apart. Now I'm going to treat these as one needle. It's going to be a little awkward, but I'm going to come forward, just go under the first strand on your thumb, around the first strand on your finger, and come back through. But see how much bigger that's going to be? Under, over, through. It just gives your cast on a little more stretchiness, a little more room. But see, be careful, because what I just did is I went to catch under here, and one of my needles went under everything. You need to catch under just the front strand, over and through. If you watched the video that was supposed to be the first one to watch of how all these collars compare, and see, I can maybe catch it with my back. Woo! Liz is more of the expert on this. Under both of these, over and through. If you watched my first video, you can tell it gives it a little more stretch, but maybe not a ton. So if it's really hard to cast on holding these 2 needles together, you may just want to do it with one, but cast on as loosely as you can. I'm not going to do the entire cast on here, but one thing I'm finding is helping. I reset when I need to. I get one needle under and then scoot the other one under if I need to. One under and get the other guy under to continue my cast on. And you can let your stitches go back on the cables. If you have that longer cable needle held with this one, if you have both of them and you've got more space back here, you just let them keep piling up back there and cast on as many as you need for your pattern. And see, that can go all the way back. This isn't as much as I need for the ranunculus, but I want to show you what to do when you're done. Here's the smaller one. It's on the bottom. That's the one I want to stay in my stitches. So I'm going to hold on to it really, really firmly here. And my other one, and maybe hold on to the stitches too, but my other one, the long one, I want to pull out. So I'm going to gently pull him out. And then you have loops on your needle that are nice and loose so that you can bring it around and start knitting. Again, I didn't cast on enough, but you can bring it around and start knitting in a circle. To show you what this looks like when it's done, here is that casting on with 2 needles. Here's the edge of it and what it looks like. And if we compare it to the one where I didn't cast on with 2, it's a little bit stretchier. We get a little more room out of it, though not a ton. So thanks for joining us for the long tail cast on using 2 needles held together. Of course, this can be used for all kinds of things, not just for the ranunculus. So it's a good video to watch if you want to have just a little more room in your cast on, because sometimes cast ons can be a little tight. You also can just try a larger needle to cast on and then transfer your stitches. If you're holding 2 together, you're doubling the size of your cast on essentially. So use this if and when you want to. Now check out the other videos if you'd like to. Maybe try out different cast-ons, see which one works for you. And then we'll meet you in the next video in the series where I go over some tips for doing that increased row right afterwards. Remember, this is not going to be a step-by-step for the ranunculus where you don't need to buy the pattern. There's a lot of hard work that went into this pattern, and you should definitely check out her pattern and get her pattern if you want to knit along with us for our April knit along. May your crafting be filled with joy and confidence. Bye-bye now.